Hey, Dr. Sean, let's talk today about water because not all water is created equal. And I think a lot of people believe that what they're intaking counts as water, and it may not.
Yeah, absolutely. Water's an interesting thing. It's one of those things that we think that anything that's wet is water, and it's not quite that way. When you look at colas, sodas, alcohols, coffees, teas, juices, dairy products, milk, those aren't water. Now they contain water in them, a lot of them do, but when the body sees those things, and this is something that gets lost a lot of times, it tries to digest them. It doesn't just bring it in like you would pure water. It brings it in and says, oh, I know what that is, and it allows it to be used to flush the body and clean. But when you bring in something that water's mixed into, it says, oh, well, we got to digest this first. And so it'll run it through a series of digestive processes, which are stressful on the body. It makes it work and do things. And when it finally extracts out the water it can use, you've only got a small percentage of what you were truly after. Sometimes 30, maybe 40% if you're lucky, instead of the 100% you get from a bottle of water.
So, what about carbonated waters, sparkling waters, adding flavoring to actual water, alkaline waters?
Yeah, when you look at water choices like that, we'll take carbonated for example. The key to it is understanding the body has a pH, and to make this simplistic, we're going to take pH and make it temperature. It likes to be lukewarm. The body likes lukewarm. So when you bring in something like a carbonated water, they're phosphorylating or carboxylating that water. They're putting an acid to it. That's how you get the bubbles in beer and soda and carbonated water. That bubble effect, that bubble process is acidic. And so what that does is that challenges that lukewarm temperature. And it says, hey, wait a minute, we're going to run you, way, way out. We're going to make your body really hot, for example, because acids tend to be hot, right? We're going to make it really, really hot. We're going to run up to 115. But the body's like, no, 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 I want to be 98.6. I want to be lukewarm. And so now you're forcing it to adapt to this. And that's one of the big knocks against acid or acidity. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, if I get too acid, I'm going to end up developing cancers and this and that. And there's research behind that. But there's research the other way. And this is the one that I think gets missed the most. There's a new craze going on right now of alkalizing water. Now, water, guys, is neutral. It runs anywhere from 6.6 to 7.4, 7.5 pH. Okay, 7 being dead smack middle of the spectrum, on the teeter-totter. It's right in the middle. Ideally, you want that to stay that way. And if you start alkalizing water, I've seen waters in the 9s, the 10s, the 11s on pH. What that means is let's do the opposite of what we did before, where we took acid and said, oh, it's really hot. Well, alkaline's really cold. And the body says, hey, I like lukewarm. So now you go dumping ice cubes into it. You're dumping bunches and bunches of cold, and you're driving that down. As you drive that temperature down, the body has to aggressively adapt to this and starts losing things. So we see other disease states, especially rheumatisms and arthritises and things of that nature, showing up in people who are too alkaline. So there's a blend here that you want to focus on. You don't want to be too much or too little. It's the Goldilocks and the Three Bears story, right? We don't want our porridge too cold. We don't want it too hot. We want it just right. And the way water is made already is just right. And that's really the key for everybody. So when you're thinking about water, can you have carbonated beverages? Can you have alkaline water? You could. Is it necessary? No. Should it be the mainstay of your diet? Absolutely not. And that brings us to these sweeteners. When you're putting in all the little fake sweeteners, and there's a ton of brands out there from Mio to Crystal Light to all these things. When you're putting these little sweeteners in, well, that goes back to what we said earlier about digesting. Now you're bringing in a fake sweetener that has the potential to kick off digestion. And if it's any of the fake sugars that are in there, the Splendas, the NutraSweets, the aspartames, now you're taxing that liver. So not only are you forcing the body to digest this fluid, now you're asking it to get rid of a poison or a chemical that it doesn't want to see to begin with. And so it can be very, very hard on the body.
And how much water should we be consuming?
As a rule of thumb, and Victor Frank was one of my mentors, and Vic always said that as a rule of thumb for everybody, you should consume roughly a quart of water for every 50 pounds of body weight. So if you're a female and you weigh 150 pounds, you should aim for about 3 quarts a day. I'm a 6'1" male. If I weigh 200 pounds, I'd be aiming for 4 quarts of water a day. Now I can have coffee and tea, and I can have my carbonated beverage if I want, but I need to be aiming for that amount of water every day. The key to this, guys, guys, and this is super, super important for everyone out there. When you add water in, find out where you're at. Bottles are the easiest way to do that. Drink a bottle or two a day. See how much water you truly consume. Don't go pouring in a gallon of water into a system that's not used to it, because you'll flush everything out. Your electrolytes, your salt, you'll throw everything off, because it's like putting too much rain on farm ground. You get a heavy, heavy rain, it just all runs off. You have to teach the body how to absorb and how to utilize that water as you bring it in. So the key to this is just go slow. Find out what you drink naturally, and then add a bottle a week until you get to the number that you want to be at. That'll keep the bladder healthy, keep everything going well, and you'll be surprised at how good the body will actually feel.
All right, Dr. Sean, thank you for your time.
All right, thank you.